Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of opening day in the MLB, I am going to be building a baseball team using NFL players. Spent a couple hours this morning doing some research to find out which players did and which players didn't play baseball and which players would make the best fit for a current modern day team. Before we hop into it, as always, don't forget to use code Wyatt's World on G Fuel, Waggle, or Prize Picks. By using my codes on G Fuel or Waggle, you'll save a discount on any of their products. And by using my code at sign up on Prize Picks, you're going to guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 entry. But remember, always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. Okay, so before I actually get into which player I have playing at each position on the baseball field, I would just like to say how many players we are going to go through. So in this video, I am going to have 5 pitchers, as well as the basic everyday lineup of catcher, first, second, third, shortstop, right field, left field, center field, and DH. So the first position I am going to reveal is the catcher of this team, and I have none other than Matt Stafford taking that role. For anybody who did not know, Matt Stafford used to actually play on the same team as Clayton Kershaw growing up. Not only were they state champions at one point, but it should also be noted that Stafford was Clayton's catcher. Meaning if this guy was catching pitches from one of the all-time greats all the way growing up, that shit's gotta be just like riding a bike for him, and he can hop right back into it at any time. Not sure how Stafford would do hitting, but if he bats above 200, I'll count it as a dub. Now moving on to who will be playing first base on this MLB team, it is none other than Travis Kelce from the Kansas City Chiefs, and I know that this team is looking ancient right now. It gets better, trust me. Anyway, Kelce not only played baseball growing up, but he played football and he played basketball too. He was a tri-sport athlete. It also helps his case to know that he played third base growing up, meaning this guy can take piss missiles in the dirt, which leads me to believe his scooping ability wouldn't be that bad either, and I think putting him at first base would be a lot better than third right now, considering his age. He ain't gonna be as fast as he once was, but he can still catch balls, and I'm sure he can still hit bombs. Kind of one of the cool things about baseball, though, is age isn't as big of a deal in baseball either. You can play till 50 if you want. You're not gonna be very good, but typically players are playing like elite ball until they're in their late 30s if they're really good ones. Now moving on to who will be playing second base, we have Justin Fields from the Jets. Turns out Justin Fields was a fucking dog basically at baseball when he was growing up. Sounds like his hitting wasn't his strong suit, but he could hit the shit out of a ball. However, he was outstanding defensively at playing second base and had some of the wildest throwing ability, which should come as no shock, that his coaches had ever seen. And yes, I know, it's not like these guys have played baseball anytime recently. I'm not saying they would legitimately be good in today's league, but compared to other football players who have no baseball experience, I'm taking Justin Fields any day of the week. Now moving on to the shortstop of this team, this might shock some people, but I am picking Will fucking Levis. From what I have heard, this man was an absolute baller at baseball in high school. He said he played for 2 or 3 years and then quit to run track to get faster for football. But they said he lettered in the sport, he was a fantastic defensive player, and he could also hit the absolute shit out of a ball, which should come to no shock considering the guy looks like the Incredible Hulk. I did read that he tried to go back to pitching in Kentucky and let up like 20-some runs in 2 innings. I don't know if that's a real stat, but if it is, I'm keeping him far as hell out of the bullpen as possible. Moving on to third base, we have Baker Mayfield. Another guy who was absolutely elite in high school. He played first, he played third. He's younger than Travis Kelce, therefore he gets third base here. But he was known as a standout hitter in Texas high school baseball, where in the 2 varsity seasons he played, he batted .338 with 22 doubles, 47 runs, and 41 RBIs. By the way, in his junior year, he batted .364. Like, this guy can still play the game of baseball, and he is my starting third baseman and probably my leadoff hitter or 2-hitter. I'll have the order at the end of the video, don't worry. Now moving out to the outfield, starting with right field, give me Russell Wilson. I know this isn't the most entertaining pick, but it's the practical one. I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't know, but Russ was legitimately drafted into the MLB. He used to practice with the Yankees in spring training and like play games. Again, he's not the youngest form of himself anymore, but like he would probably be one of the best hitters on the team right now, considering he is one of the more recent players out of anybody here. Now, we will get into that going forward here a little bit, but he has legitimate experience. Like he knows the game. He knows the mechanic. He knows how to run bags. Stick him out in right field where the worst player always plays. Sorry if I offended anybody. It's not gonna hurt anything. Now moving on to center field, give me Kyler Murray. This is another one, like, how would you not know it? This guy was drafted in the first round by the Oakland Athletics in 2018. Kyler Murray had like a legitimate opportunity to be one of the best players in baseball. He was that sought after. Obviously, he's quick, but he could field, he could hit, like he was a complete all-around package deal. Say if Baker's not leading off, then Kyler probably is. Can't imagine he had a lot of pop in that bat. But like I said, he was a legitimate first-round pick into the MLB. Now moving on to left field, give me AJ Brown. I didn't want to bring this up with Kyler Murray, but it's unique because AJ Brown and Kyler Murray are the only two players in the NFL right now who played on both of the All-American Under Armour baseball and football rosters when they were in high school. AJ Brown was also drafted, by the way, by the Padres. He wasn't a first-round pick, he was much later, but he scouted very well. He had a ton of power, a ton of speed, and from what I read, some elite playmaking ability, which transitions pretty well into the NFL. I have a feeling if you saw this guy really get a hold of a ball, it would just keep like going off into the distance until it disappeared. He could break a bat and still hit a home run. Like, he's that strong. Now moving on to the DH, as probably a shock to nobody, we have Josh Allen. If you didn't know, this guy was an absolute specimen at baseball in high school. Get this, he played 3 years, sophomore through senior year. His batting averages were .409, .360, and .298 for a career of .352 in 87 games. He had 99 hits, 75 RBIs, 81 runs. However, shockingly, not a home run, but I think modern day Josh, if he got a hold of one, could send one out of the park in the blink of an eye. Okay, now that we have made it through all the hitting positions, we are moving on to the 5 pitchers. And pitcher number 1, we actually have none other than Josh Allen, who will be the Shohei Ohtani of this team, because it was also revealed that Josh Allen can throw 90 miles an hour as a junior. I don't know if you play baseball or not, man. If I was in high school and I saw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, I would have shit my pants. There were kids who could do it, but oftentimes not until they were seniors, and when they were seniors, they were big boys who were able to do it. I understand too, it was a different time. But if he ain't hitting on this team, that man is throwing gasoline right down the middle. Effort, I hope you got a good glove. Moving on to the next pitcher, give me Jameis Winston. Another player who was legitimately drafted by the Texas Rangers into the MLB. Jameis Winston played baseball at Florida fucking State for a little bit, and he was a flamethrower. Knowing his accuracy in the NFL, I cannot imagine he'd be any better than Ricky Vaughn in Major League, but if Jameis is hitting that strike zone, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of swings and misses. Moving on to pitcher number 3, give me Patrick Mahomes, baby. Now, it doesn't take a lot of research to go find Patrick Mahomes' high school baseball highlight reels. I've seen them all over the place. And he was really good at everything. He could field, he could hit, and he could throw the ball really hard. And the reason I have him in the pen, or as a starting pitcher on this team, also has a lot to do with the fact that his dad was a professional pitcher for many years in the league. He also happened to play for the Twins. You ain't gonna tell me right now that this guy doesn't know a thing or two about throwing pitches, because if you're telling me he doesn't, you're lying. Patrick Mahomes, honestly, he'd probably be my closer. I'd feel the safest with him as my closer. Moving on to pitcher number 4, give me Justin Herbert, another guy who has played about every sport under the sun, and another guy who happened to be a pretty solid baseball player growing up. Seeing as he is a quarterback, I feel like having him as a pitcher just made the most sense. But I also want to point out that I can just tell by looking at Justin Herbert in high school, he was one of those guys that was just really good at absolutely everything he did. Like, annoyingly good. Probably pretty effortlessly, too. Like, he is that guy. And my last pitcher that I have is actually Michael Penix, and this is kind of just off of what I've heard through the grapevine of the internet. Couldn't find any pictures of that guy holding a baseball glove or a bat, but it said he did play in high school and he played at a decent level, which leads me to believe he would be a decent pitcher considering he has one of the most aggressively hard throws I've ever seen out of a fucking quarterback. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying this guy throws a rope. Not sure where I would have him. Probably a reliever though. That would make the most sense. I feel like he would only be good for about 15, 16 pitches and he's out of there. So now that I have completed my MLB NFL team, this is the official lineup. Batting first, we have Kyler Murray, followed by Russ, followed by Baker. Then batting 4 in the cleanup spot is AJ Brown, where 5 will be Josh Allen, 6 will be Will Levis, 7 will be Justin Fields, and then 8 and 9 are Kelsey and Stafford, the senior citizens. As for the pitching rotation, the 3 starters I have: Josh, Jameis, Justin Herbert, reliever Michael Penix, closer Patrick Mahomes. I understand it's not the most textbook ordinary team, but I'm saying this team goes out and wins 110 minimum. Oh, by the way, my manager would be Sean McVay. We need the most animated son of a bitch possible for this. Anyway, guys, that is going to be all for me creating an MLB team using NFL players. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and had fun with it, and please show me support if you enjoyed it, because you know I appreciate any and all help. In the meantime, I'm going to get this edited so you guys can watch it on time and get to watching some real baseball. So I hope you guys have a great Thursday, and I will see you in the next upload.